Folks, the culture of death is alive and well, and that's not an oxymoron. Because what just happened up there in the People's Republic of Massachusetts demands more than a quick drive-by. This is the kind of story that shows you exactly where the left is taking the country when nobody's looking, or when they think the media will just rubber stamp it with soft language and tear jerking anecdotes. Governor Maura Healey, Democrat, signed into law today, surrounded by a flock of clucking hens, a bill that guts the remaining restrictions on abortions after 24 weeks. Let me read you the new language straight from the statute. No spin here, folks. An abortion may be performed by a physician based upon the professional judgment of the physician. That's it. Period. Full stop. The four-pronged list, the old one, life of the mother, lethal fetal anomalies, that sort of thing, is gone, wiped out, replaced with pure physician judgment. And they even yanked the requirement that these late-term procedures had to happen in a hospital, because apparently hospitals were just another burdensome roadblock, and it helps get Planned Parenthood back up and running. I'm sure there will be a lot of judgment calls made in there. NBC Boston is calling it new abortion rules and strengthening later term abortion protections so patients can stay in state. Make it convenient. Supporters are lining up to talk about pain and anguish and heartache and a lot of trauma, just not the pain, anguish, heartache, and trauma of the baby. Now, Haley herself stood there surrounded by pro-abortion lawmakers and activists saying, "We've heard the stories of the worst moments of a person's life." Yes, when you realized you've been burdened with the consequences of your decisions or actions. It goes on. And now new patients will get the care they need right here in Massachusetts. Yeah, you can just jettison that unwanted burden right here at home. Now, one woman told her story about 33 weeks along, learning the baby had suffered a stroke in utero and being told she might have to travel out of state. Heartbreaking, no question. But notice how these stories always become the justification for rewriting the law so that any doctor can decide, for any reason that fits his professional judgment, that a pregnancy past viability can be ended. These are the same healthcare professionals, by the way, that didn't want to provide care for anyone unvaccinated during COVID. That's the professional judgment we have to compare. Never forget, folks, never forget what they did. We should automatically just trust their moral judgment when they made statements that lacked morals. Let's be clear about what this means in plain English, not liberal newspeak. 24 weeks is when a baby has a fighting chance outside the womb. Plenty of them are surviving and thriving earlier than that these days. Yet, under this new Massachusetts law, if the physician decides it's appropriate, it's legal. Healthy baby, viable, doesn't matter if the doctor signs off. They remove the guardrails. Pro-life groups like Massachusetts Family Institute and Massachusetts Family Action are calling it exactly what it is: one of the most extreme abortion bills in the country, allowing abortion at any point in the pregnancy for any reason outside the safeguards of a hospital. It's abortion on demand, folks. Republicans in the House voted against it almost unanimously. A handful of Democrats even broke ranks. The Senate, with a supermajority of 35-5, pushed it through 15-4. They didn't even have to pull it all the way out, folks. Fast track in the final days of session so it could hit Healey's desk right now, 90 days from taking effect. And the numbers? Department of Public Health shows 99 abortions at 24 weeks or later in 2024. And that's not zero. That's nearly 100. Nationally, late procedures are under 1%, the advocates remind us, as if the percentage makes the principle disappear. Medicine does not always fit into clearly defined categories. One senator said, physicians need the ability to use their medical judgment. Translation: get the government and any moral or scientific limits out of the way entirely. This is the post Roe playbook, ladies and gentlemen. When the Supreme Court sent the issue back to the states, blue states didn't respond with safe, legal, and rare. They didn't even stop at viability. They went full throttle toward abortion on demand through all 9 months, dressed up as compassion and getting the government out of the exam room. Healey is already tying it to the election, noting that abortion is on the ballot and that her opponents are anti abortion. Well, of course they are, because some of us still have a soul and believe a viable unborn child is not just a medical judgment call. You hear the same refrains every time. In complex and rapidly changing medical circumstances, unbelievably tragic news, lessen the trauma, all real human suffering, no doubt. But the solution they choose is to erase the last statutory protections and hand the decision solely to the abortionist. No more specific criteria, no more hospital requirement. Just trust the experts. Where have we heard that before? And if that means a healthy, viable baby can be aborted because a doctor judges it, well, that's the new Massachusetts standard. This is the culture of death advancing in broad daylight, while the networks soft pedal it as patient access and reproductive health care. Half the country looks at this and recoils. The other half celebrates. And the babies who could survive outside the womb, they don't get a microphone. They don't get a vote. They get a physician's professional judgment. So there it is. No punches pulled. The left isn't hiding the ball anymore. They're signing it into law, smiling for the cameras and daring you to notice. One day, I pray we wake up as a society and a species and realize what we've done. Folks, this is the story the way it actually is. Stay tuned, because if they can do it in Massachusetts, they'll try it everywhere else they get a chance. This is where we are today in America. We'll be back, and we hope you will too.